Alrighty, people. Hello, how you doing? We're going to be starting a YouTube video here. It's going to be one of the first ones on the channel. Now, since this is a newer channel, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to tell you what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing multiple things, arts and crafts. We're going to be making things, primitive things, survival things, other things like that. We're wanting to do knife review and such like that. If you watch this video and you have a knife or something like that, we want to be able to review it, put it through studies and tests, like cutting paper, cutting wood, splitting, batoning, shaving, all those tests, and we want to compare them to the ones that we have, like this one right here, the $60 knife that I have that I usually use and I'm not afraid to beat up. I want to be able to test out somebody else's knife and say whether it's a good product or not. And that's one thing that we're going to be doing. We're also going to be doing cooking. We're going to be doing cooking over the fire today. Not in this video, but today. I might make another video of today, what we're making. But yeah, for this, we're going to be starting on the YouTube channel. We're going to be starting on the phone and another camera, and then we're going to be trying to upload these things to either another computer or upload these onto YouTube right off of it. And it's so bear with us. If you guys are going to be an early subscriber, stick here. You guys will not be disappointed because we have many plans for you. There's other little things that may change how many videos come out, all that kind of stuff, but right now on this channel we will start bushcrafting stuff. And today we are going to be talking about my tomahawk. Okay, so now this tomahawk was made by Townsend, not sponsored, anything like that. I've been using it for a while. I'm not the greatest at throwing tomahawks, so take lightly if in the future when I try to teach you how to throw a tomahawk, but still got to do practice and stuff like that. I was actually doing pretty good today. Tired because I have nerve issues and such like that, and walking back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, getting this stuck out of something, or if you miss, getting it from the place that you hit. This tomahawk, as you can see, I just grinded. I'm gonna scrutinize things when I get them, and that's what I'm gonna do, because I'm gonna be an honest person. So if you do a knife review and you send me a knife, I'm gonna try to give my best unbiased judgment, and that means possibly scrutinizing, but everything cannot be perfect. Nothing can be perfect. So I can understand that. And I would still use this tomahawk. I still use this tomahawk. I actually almost got a squirrel with this once. But I don't know if you can tell, but of course you can. This is hand forged steel, made by Townsend, reproduction of 1700 style tomahawks. And basically what they would do is the bottom here is smaller, and this was on a lathe. This was on a pole lathe, I assume, anyways, because it was a reproduction, and they do use pole lathes in Townsend. The bottom was shorter than the top, alright? And the reason why that is so it doesn't fly off. It doesn't fly off this way. However, this has not to have a end like a regular axe. This is my bushcrafting axe. It's not a full-size axe. It's still pretty long. I think it's 20 something inches. I don't really remember. But it is a nice axe for the cheapness it was. This is a nickel steel, so it's a soft steel, but it's one of the stronger soft steels. But yeah, I need to re-oil this, and I think I just broke something with it. I need to make a new handle soon, because I'm gonna be honest with you, cheap tools and all that, when I use them and I abuse them. So if I abuse my tools a lot. So when I test tools, they're gonna be left. I'm gonna beat these things up, because I beat this thing up. When it's not in the shed, it's out here outside, and it's either chopping wood or chopping wood. I don't use it for anything else. Anywho, we'll put that aside because we're not talking about that right now. Anywho, the tomahawk, it's of course heavier up here because not only because of the wood, but because of the head itself. And of course, if you guys know anything about throwing the tomahawk, it kind of, the front will move faster than this will right here. There's a fulcrum point. I can't find it. It's right, I think it's right here, something right here. Oh, hold up. I'm trying to find it. Oop. There you go. So the fulcrum point is a lot higher than, of course, than a knife would be. A knife you want balanced if it's a throwing knife. This is not balanced, obviously. So you would, of course, the ergonomics and all that and how it works would be a little bit different. The throwing axe or the tomahawk was created by the tomahawk was created by the Native Americans. I don't remember what tribe. But the tomahawk was originally stone, and they would use that to throw at creatures, people, other things like that. It was used to kill. And that's basically what this is made for. This is made for as a weapon. Now, you can chop down trees and use it as a survival tool and stuff like that. That's another good way, one other way they used to use the handle. Now, this handle is falling apart. I would not want to use this and trust it as a hammer. But basically, let me see if I can take it off here, because it sometimes likes to, but I jammed it on there because I was throwing it today. Alright. Hold up. There we go. So you take it off, all you got, because it's just friction fit. A lot of, tomahawks back in the day were friction fit, and were just made by the handle being stuck up in there, which you would stick through this way. So it doesn't fly off unless you break off the end, which I'm breaking the end, and I'm going to need a new make a new one, because in the beginning of start throwing the tomahawk, you're not good at throwing tomahawks. Believe it or not, you're not good at throwing tomahawks when you don't know how to throw a tomahawk. So I'm still teaching myself how to throw a tomahawk. And you can watch other videos, teach yourself how to throw a tomahawk. It's not too hard. All it needs is practice. Practice. I've learned that from playing the violin. You need to practice. If you don't practice, then it's not going to be perfect. And I'm a perfectionist, and I'm impatient, so I don't like practice, which is a bad thing, because since I don't like practice, I'm impatient. With my fire starting, I'm impatient. With my axe throwing, I'm impatient. So guess what I need to learn? Patience. And I'm going to be honest with you, because that's the type of person I am. I need patience. And you need patience too, because, especially if you're a doctor, because if you don't, you make no money. You need patience, because if you don't use your patience, then you will get angry really quick, because you do not know what you're doing in the beginning. Believe me, you start throwing, you're like, I thought I was aiming at the thing. I know how to throw a football, but it's the way your body is. You need to read your own body, where it's pointing. You need to read. Your brain does so many calculations. It's insane just to throw a football, let alone throw a tomahawk, which a football, the way it's more aerodynamic. It's round. You're able to get your hands around that, and the balance is better than, of course, the tomahawk. The head of this tomahawk is not that. I'd say at least a pound or so, pound or two. But you can use this to chop up things, processed meat. But like I said before, one way people would use the tomahawk when chopping something or whatever the case may be, is if it got stuck or whatever the case may be, they would hit the handle out, and then they would use it kind of like a chisel type deal. And you could use that. The Native Americans did not get metal ones, of course, until the Europeans came over. I think it's very interesting. I don't think my ancestors really... I mean, I'm part Native American only. I'm Apache. Might have some Susquehanna, according to my mother, but I can't trust everything my mother says, so... But putting this thing on gets a little tricky sometimes because you want it to fit just right. You don't want it. So let me put this on here for a second. Alrighty. It's back on for the most part. I am not too confident in this handle much anymore. I'm pretty sure it's going to fly off one of these days. It's a little wiggly woggly. That's also the thing about friction fit things, is they are not going to be perfectly put in place. Now, this is technically friction fit. There's no glue involved. However, usually they use things like another piece of wood. As you can see, what they'll do is they'll take the piece of wood, make a notch. And see this? This piece of wood that goes down center is a harder piece of wood than the outside wood is. Okay, and this is a piece of metal, of course, so it's a nail that will be driven in there to spread it out even more. So you have this that goes down this way, that spreads it out this way, and then this, since it's at an angle, would spread it out this way, but it would push it just out this way, just a slid. The best way to friction fit something is to use a circle pin. It's like a pin. But you just hammer that in, and it's like a wedge that pushes on all sides. So it's like a circle, and you would put a couple in there, or whatever the case may be, and that would spread your wood out in multiple different directions, keeping your thing in place, your head in place. That will work with that. And friction fits aren't bad when it comes to axes. However, I'm going to show you something that's not that great to have a friction fit on. Now, this is what we call a kukri. I bought this. It was not very expensive. It was expensive. I'm not a rich person. Neither is my father. I paid about $80 because of tax. It was $77. $80 afterwards. I paid $80 for this. But what is not great is to have this friction fit. And I'm going to tell you why. Is that a crack down there? I think it is. But this is the reason why I don't like having friction fit. This entire handle is not friction fit. There is glue in here. But what is friction fit is this guard, and it's destroying my handle because it's moving back and forth because it's not a tight fit. It's holding there because of the friction, yes, but as soon as you start using it, bang, 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 you start using your mallet. Where the hell is my mallet? It's over here. Start using your mallet. It starts sending vibrations through the handle. Alright, to this. And to be friction fit isn't, like I said, isn't always bad. For axes, it works great. Because axes, you abuse, you use, you will lose your handle, you will abuse your kukri too. That is one thing that I'm going to say, but I wish the handle was made better on this. This is an olive wood handle. This was handcrafted Damascus steel. Still, the edge is great. It still works great. The other smaller knives that I got with it aren't the greatest. But I would, if you are starting out, I'm with kukris. For the price, I don't like it that much. I'm going to be honest with the price. The handle is what is the handle itself. It absorbs really well. It's just I'm scared that when I use it, over and over and over again as I abuse it, because I split wood with it, I chop trees with it, I chop bushes and vines and other things. I'm gonna bring it over here. So, one thing that you are able to do is able to split trees with it. Okay, so this is this stick. For example, that's my finger. Alright, and I'm able to cut the fungus off the top. I'm able to just put it in there. You can also just use gravity, but that's a lot of work. And I have wrist problems, so I'm not going to do that. And there you go. It's split. The kukri was actually used by military, I think the Indians and some of the other Middle Eastern military still use kukris today. They are very great for... This is a pretty big kukri. There's smaller kukris, even bigger kukris. Kukris can be ceremonial. Kukris can be military. This, of course, I just got to process wood. I'm not killing nobody with it, so. And if I had to process meat, I could process meat with it. I'm going to be honest with you, I like kukris. This is my first kukri that I've ever owned. All the other kukris, though, that I've seen it work, or used, okay, so I never owned any other one, but the way others may work, some of the cheaper ones are okay, depending on where you get them. Some of the other ones that you get that are cheaper, if you were just in the beginning, you won't be afraid to abuse. This was $80. And the handle is not the greatest. So I'm probably going to have to replace the handle in the future. And that makes me sad. I want to do a series called Will It Cut? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the knives that I do have so far. And I'm going to, some of the ones that I have that I'm going to check the factory sharpness on. And the other ones that I check my own sharpness on in the beginning. And see what kind of edge we can get on it. I'm not the greatest at sharpening, but pretty good. So, of course, I chopped that down to this. Now, this kukri can do some fine stuff. It's a pretty thick boy. It's a pretty big boy, so doing some of that stuff with is a little hard, like feathering and stuff. But what is easy, of course, is splitting with it or chopping with it. I was able to chop through something about this thick with the kukri. Didn't take too long. So even though this is not the greatest kukri, more expensive kukris would be really great. Or if you can get a cheap, high-quality one, not really one that has a better handle at least, then that would be great and would really, really help you a lot. That being said, like I said, this is the beginning. I just started this on my own today. I wasn't planning on making a video, so this is a little rushed. But I will see you next time on the next video.